Hi students, good morning. Welcome to your online class today. Okay, so today is a continuation of the lesson supplementary we were doing last week. So we had learnt about how the camel got his hump. We had done the part 1. I hope you remember the story so far. It's been quite a few days since we did this. Today I'll be doing part 2 of it. And in part 1 we learnt about the ox, the dog and the horse, how they went to complain to the jinn about the camel not doing his work. If anyone would go to him, he would just say what? He would just say hump, and then he would just ignore them. He would not reply. Even if they have called him to do work, to join them in their work, he would not go to help them. So they were quite frustrated with his behavior, and so they went to the jinn. The jinn came to them and he told them, okay, I'll see to it. I'll see to the camel. I'll talk to him. I'll explain to him. And so coming up now is the continuation of that. Today we'll be doing part 2 of page 4 of your supplementary books. Okay, so I hope you're ready for that. There is also some homework there. Please do that homework also. Okay, so see you then. So today we'll do part 2. The jinn remonstrated with the camel, who said hump. He went to the camel and demanded for a remonstration. Remonstration means explanation. He asked for an explanation from the camel. Then, this is a summary of the story that we're doing now. The camel's beautiful back suddenly grew a hump, which was the camel's hump. The camel's beautiful back suddenly grew a lump, which was the camel's hump. So the jinn, before the camel had no hump, but now the jinn gave the camel a hump. The jinn assured the camel his hump would always be a help, not a hindrance. And the jinn also told the camel, don't worry about the hump. The hump will be of no hindrance. Hindrance means trouble to you. It will be always a help to you. So don't worry about the hump. It will always be helpful to you. The jinn told the camel. So now begins the story of part 2. The jinn rolled himself up in his dust cloak and took a walk across the desert. The king rolled himself up in his dust cloak. What is a dust cloak? It's a kind of a dress. Cloak is a kind of an overcoat that we wear. So this jinn was not wearing a coat, but then the dust. He rolled himself in the dust. He made some breeze occur. Wind came there, and this dust came and settled on around his body, which looked like a cloak, like a coat, and took a walk across the desert and found the camel looking at his own reflection in a pool of water. He went looking for the camel and he found the camel looking at himself in the water. My friend, said the jinn, what's this I hear of your doing no work? The jinn asked the camel. In a very nice, friendly manner, he said, my friend, what's this I hear other animals talking about you not doing your work? The jinn sat down with his chin in his hand while the camel looked at his own reflection in the pool of water. Like you can see in the picture there, the jinn put his hand on his chin, and the camel was busy with himself there, looking at his own reflection, looking at himself in the pool of water, like you can see in the picture. You have given the 3 extra work ever since Monday morning, all on account of your idleness, said the jinn. And he went on thinking with his chin in his hand. He said, you have given the 3 extra work ever since Monday morning, all on account of your idleness. Because of your idleness, I had to give the work to the other 3 animals. And he went on thinking with his chin in his hand. His chin was there on his hand, and he continued thinking of what to say next to the camel. The camel was busy looking at himself in the water. He was looking at his reflection in the water, like a mirror. A mirror gives off our reflection. When we look in the mirror, we see our reflection. So the camel was looking at his reflection in the water. And the jinn told him that I have given you 3 days of work to other animals. He said to the camel. So the jinn was talking to the camel while the camel was looking at himself in the reflection in the water. Hump, said the camel. The camel again said his famous word, hump, he said. I shouldn't say that again if I were you, said the jinn. You might say it once too often. I want you to work. The jinn said, if I were you, I wouldn't say that hump again. So you please be careful and don't repeat that hump again. I want you to work, the jinn told the camel. And the camel said, hump again. Again he said just one word, hump. But no sooner had he said it than he saw his back that he was so proud of, puffing up into a great big hump. And the moment he said hump again for the second time, he saw his back, which he was so very proud of. He saw that in one portion of his back began to puffing up into a great big hump. Just like mummy when she makes puri, the puri puffs up, no? It becomes like a ball. Same way he could see his reflection in the water and he could see a part of his back puffing up like a ball. Do you see that? Said the jinn. That's your very own hump that you brought upon your own self by not working. And the jinn said, see, can you see that hump of yours? It is your own work. It is because of you. You keep saying hump again and again. And that is come into your body, onto your back because you are not working. Today is Thursday and you have done no work since Monday when the work began. Now you are going to work. The jinn told him very, very strictly, very, very sternly. Since Thursday you have not been working, since Monday you have not been working, today is already Thursday and you have missed 3 days of work. Now you are going to work, the jinn told the camel. How can I, said the camel with this hump on my back? So how can I go to work with this hump on my back? Again the camel began to find excuses. That has a purpose, said the jinn. Don't worry about the hump, the jinn told the camel. All because you missed those 3 days, you will be able to work now for 3 days without eating because you can live on your hump. And don't you ever say I never did anything for you. Come out of the desert and go to the tree and behave. Now you know why camels can go for days and days and days without food and water. They can continue walking in the desert, and that is why they are called the sheep of the desert. Yes, because of this. The camel said, I have given you that hump, and because of that hump, for 3 days you will not require to eat. You will not need to eat or drink. And for 3 days continuously you can work because you can live on your hump. And afterwards, don't say I did not do anything for you. That hump is good for you. Now come out of the desert and go and help those 3 other animals, the cow, the ox, the horse and the dog. Go and help them and behave yourself, he told the camel. And the camel went away to join the 3. And from that day to this day, the camel always wears a hump. We call it a hump now, not to hurt his feelings. But he has never yet caught up with the 3 days that he missed at the beginning of the world. And he has never yet learned how to behave. So now he has never learned to behave. He continues with his behavior. He still has his hump. We call it hump. We don't call it hump because we don't want to hurt his feelings. And so he is still working. He has still not yet caught up to those 3 days. He is still 3 days behind. He's still 3 days behind in his work. From that time to this till today, he's still 3 days behind his work. So that is why he has to continue working. While other animals finish their work, he, the camel, has to continue working. And he has not yet learned how to behave. This story is by Rudyard Kipling. It's an abridged story, a story made easier for you to understand. Okay, so now we have the comprehension check. There are 4 questions here in the comprehension check. Please do these 4 questions in your copies. The camel was looking at his own reflection in the pool. What does it suggest to you about the camel? What does this tell us about the camel? That he was in love with himself. He loved himself. This is the meaning of that. He loved himself. Next, the camel said hump repeatedly. How did it affect him? It affected him because in the end the jinn went and gave him one hump. What, according to the jinn, was the use of the hump? With the help of the hump, the camel would be able to go without food and water for 3 days. That is the use. He has never yet learned to behave. In the light of this, what is the writer's opinion about the camel? The writer says that the camel has still not yet learned how to behave, because sometimes he also misbehaves in the desert, especially when there are people climbing on to go for a ride on his back. Sometimes he throws them off his back. Sometimes the people fall off his back. And that is how the Rudyard Kipling says that maybe he has not yet learned how to behave. And his hump still exists. He still has his hump. Now it is called hump. That time it was called humph, with a PH, with the H in the sound, humph, f sound. But now it got a p sound, hump. Now, and we call it hump now because the writer says we don't want to hurt his feelings. Okay, so do this comprehension check as your homework in your copies. I will be asking for your homework very soon. So please do it. Okay, we'll also go for the next page homework. So now we are on page 6, exercises. Discuss the following topics in groups. Obviously, we can't work in groups. So the first question here in exercise is, can this story be factually true? Yes or no? Just give your answer. Yes, this story can be true, or no, this story cannot be factually true. Actually, the answer is no. Okay. Next question number 2 is, what according to you is the story about? Just choose one from there. There are 4 options. Choose one option. Okay. Next question number 3, what did you do over the weekend? What did you do in the weekend? That is last Saturday, Sunday, day before yesterday and yesterday. What did you do? Were you generally active or idle? Were you active? Did you do something active? Or you just sat down and watched TV and played games? Or were you idle? Okay, so just write what you did in the weekend. Just 2 or 3 lines. Okay, nothing rocket science. So just 2 or 3 lines. Number 4, there are broadly 2 categories of workers. Those who prefer to do today what they can do tomorrow, and those who prefer to do tomorrow what they can do today. Where do you belong? Do you belong to which category do you belong to? First category is you prefer to do today what you can do tomorrow, or do you belong to the next category? You do tomorrow what you can do today. Which category do you belong to? Do you like to do things now itself, or do you like to postpone things and do it later on? Okay, that is these are the 4 questions. Very, very short answers. Please keep your answers short. The next one is think it over. Think it over, you will do the 3rd point. The 3rd point, I'll give it clearly in a page. All work and no play. Is it a good idea? What do you think? Number 3, point number 1, all work is dignified. That one. Another one, he who struggles is, but that is just a reading task. Just read those 2 lines. And 3rd line, all work and no play. Is it a good idea? What do you think? You have to give me your ideas. All work and no play. Do we always need to work and not have any enjoyment, or do we need to work and then also have some enjoyment? Which one? Is it a good idea to work and work and work and not play? So give me your answer. Give me what you think about it. What are your ideas about this? All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. That is the full proverb. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So that is the full proverb. So what do you think about this? Write down in your copies and then keep it ready. I will ask you for your homework very soon. Very soon I'll be asking for your homework. So please keep it ready today itself. Don't postpone your work for tomorrow. Do your work today. I hope you have enjoyed the story. Read it again, and if you have any doubts, any lines that you find difficult, you can send me a picture of it, highlight it and send me a picture of it. I shall explain to you again. Okay? In the meantime, take care and do your homework. Bye.